Welcome back to the second episode of the Hunter Handbook. My name is Dre, and in this video I'll explain how to obtain your epic Rhok'delar and Rhok'delar hunter weapons. I'll be giving a brief overview of the quest chain process and explain in depth how to defeat each of the 4 demons. Let's get right into it. The spec used throughout this guide was the starting raid spec 2:31:18, the only major difference being 5 out of 5 into improved concussive shot. I'll quickly pan throughout my gear as well. I was close to full pre-raid BIS and I have a tier 1 helm. My 2-hand weapon has demon slaying enchant on it, and I'll be covering this a little bit later in the guide. Also, I was so excited to get my bow, I actually vendored my Black Crow before filming this, so that is the bow I used throughout the killing process. The first step is obtaining the Ancient Petrified Leaf, which drops off the second last boss Major Domo within the Molten Core raid. Sometimes this can actually be the hardest part of this process, as there's a large number of hunters raiding currently, so hopefully you can obtain your leaf shortly. Simply right click the leaf within your inventory and the first quest on your epic journey will begin. The first stop is Felwood. We are going to make our way over to the Iron Tree Woods and find the small island in the center of the lake. In order for the guardians to spawn, you must climb to the top of the mound, which then spawns 3 tree spirits. Oh, and if you're lucky, you get a nice thorium mining node spawning as an added bonus. Each ancient will give you a quest, the Stave of Ancients, a proper string, and the ancient sinew wrapped lamina. The Stave of the Ancients will be the most important one. This requires the killing of the 4 demons spread throughout the world and will be the focus of this guide. I'll briefly cover the other 2 quests at the end of this video since they don't really require a guide to complete. A quick disclaimer about killing these demons: you are not allowed to use your pet at all during any encounter, so make sure to dismiss before engaging. You are also not allowed to receive any help from another player. This can be in the form of damage towards the boss or healing on yourself. Beware, if someone from your faction or opposing hits the boss, it will instantly despawn and you'll have to wait around 30 minutes for the NPC to appear again. It may be wise to bring a friend along, keeping people away, or using a yell macro in order to let players know to stay back during the fights and that you don't need help. I only had 2 instances of players despawning my demons, and I wish you the best RNG on these fights, as it could be a huge setback and super disappointing if you're about to get that kill. You will get about 5 attempts at killing the demon before it despawns, which then you'll have to wait for it to respawn again. Lastly, when looking for the demon NPCs, they all have a unique patrol route. Make sure when you talk to the NPC, it is where you would actually like to begin the fight, as it won't continue to pat afterwards. You do not actually have to start the fight though after speaking, just make sure that you back away from the NPC and it will stay in place, and at that point you can begin the fight when you're ready. Since we begin our journey in Felwood, we may as well start with the Winterspring demon Artorius. I would recommend using a /target macro to easily find all the NPCs in this guide. I'll drop them down in the description so you can copy and paste. Now this NPC pats in the northern area of Winterspring, just east of Frostsaber Rock. We are looking to begin the fight at the southern end of his pat. This is actually one of the easier bosses to kill if you've prepared a path towards the main road. Make sure to clear up mobs before engaging this boss, or have a friend with you that can aggro any mobs you may accidentally pull. I would recommend having health and mana pots for this fight, and if you want, you can also bring greater shadow protection pots. I personally would not worry about the shadow pot, as this fight can be done flawlessly with only a few attempts. The only concern with this boss is a huge debuff applied when the boss gets within 30 yards of you. If this gets applied, just reset and try the fight again. The debuff even kills you through the shadow protection pot, so I wouldn't worry about stretching the fight out unless you're at the very end of the fight. The weakness of this boss is Serpent Sting, so we'll be using a max rank Serpent Sting, making sure to keep it up as much as possible, and then spamming rank 1 arcane shot off cooldown to keep the boss aggroed. If you only use Serpent Sting, the boss actually just resets and you'll lose aggro each attempt, so make sure to keep that arcane shot off cooldown. The name of the game is just kiting using Aspect of the Cheetah, staying more than 30 yards away from the boss and letting it slowly rot down with Serpent Sting. If the boss is getting too close to you, you can also use a concussive shot to slow it down. And because I have the 5 out of 5 concussive shot stun, there's a couple moments where it actually stunned the boss throughout the process. Once you actually kite the boss to the main road, you're kind of on that final stretch. It's the easiest part of the fight, it's a clear path to run through, no mobs, no worries. Use a mana potion if needed, continue your rotation, and you'll be able to land the kill. Next, we have Simone the Inconspicuous hiding in Angora Crater. I'd like to preface this boss as it is by far the easiest to complete, but has the longest and worst patrol of the 4 demons. Because the mob density is so high in Angora, ideally you're looking to fight the demon around Galaka Hot Springs in the western side. The issue is she has what seems to be a 20-minute patrol, so if you don't catch her either getting to the hot springs or leaving, you'll need to walk with the NPC until it reaches the hot springs. Now this boss spawns with an ad but is easily dealt with on the classic WoW client. The only thing you have to watch out for is the debuff from Simone called Temptress Kiss. This reduces your ranged attack power by 1500 for 45 seconds. Now honestly, even if you do get hit with this debuff, the fight will be easy to complete. It's just reducing your attack power and it will take a little bit longer for the kill. I actually almost had a perfect run where she didn't get a single cast off, and at the very end she actually landed the debuff on me. To begin this fight, simply lay a freezing trap down, and then you'll want to open with an aim shot multi-shot combo and then hit Simone immediately with a concussive shot. This slows her down and makes sure that the pet will walk into the trap. Then you begin cutting Simone around the lake. The huge bonus is after the freezing trap ends, the pet actually just de-aggroes and isn't an issue for the rest of the fight. Simply keep Hunter's Mark up, run away with the aspect of the cheetah, and auto shot, multi-shot, and serpent sting the boss down. I did have a nature protection pot up throughout the fight, but actually wasn't even needed since she didn't hit me once with her cast. Simply using Cheetah, Simone will never be able to get the cast off, and this for the other hunters would be very similar to kiting Princess when you're outranging the boulder. If you're able to continually be out of the range, it will never go off. Simply just rinse and repeat and the boss goes down with no issues. This boss resides in Silithus and the NPC is named Nelson the Nice. This is down in the southern end near the entrance of Encourage. In the past, this boss is named the hardest to kill, but by far with a simple trick, it becomes extremely easy to complete. There is essentially a hard mode and an easy mode to complete this kill, and I was going back and forth on which method would be best to show on my guide. I chose to show the easiest method to complete the kill, as the player base is super active and you should have no issues finding a warlock to assist you during the fight. If for any reason you're not able to borrow a warlock's time for 5 minutes, there are guides out there showing you how to complete this boss without any external help. But honestly, a quick whisper to any random warlock offering them a little bit of gold is an easy way to buy some help if you don't have any friends or guildmates online. This fight, I would recommend using a shadow protection pot as the dot damage can be fairly high. Just pre-pot before the fight, and you can also have one during the fight. I think on my kill I actually only used just a pre-pot, I didn't pop any during the fight at all. Make sure to also get a Hellstone from your warlock, as it will be an easy thing to pop during the fight and you're never going to have any issues with your HP. The fight is actually fairly straightforward. The only issue you come across is the Creeping Doom ads, which when in range to auto you, do massive damage. Simply kite around in a circle and the ads never catch you. To begin the fight, you'll first enter a duel with the Warlock, and he will begin to put rank 1 Curse of Recklessness on, and will just maintain this throughout your fight. Essentially, the boss has a fear mechanic which normally causes your death by fearing you into those ads. So by having this curse applied to you and keeping it up throughout the fight, you actually will never get feared and the fight becomes insanely easy to do. Next, you're going to lay a frost trap down and begin pulling the boss into the frost trap. This causes the boss to drop its enrage. The clip on my actual kill was my second attempt at this boss, as I had a weird random despawn bug on the first attempt. So luckily, as you see, the boss walked past the frost and didn't trigger it, but because I removed the enrage on the first attempt, it was alright that it missed the frost trap. When the boss reaches you, use a max rank wing clip, and this causes the boss to be rooted for an extremely long time. Simply just kite around, making sure not to be hit by those small adds, and the boss is a breeze to kill. He will most likely get out of the wing clip, I think like once to twice depending on your kill time throughout the fight, so just wing clip him again when he reaches you the second time, and he'll just be rooted back in place and you can just continue on damaging the boss. As I said earlier, if your health is getting low, make sure to utilize that health stone and you should run into no issues at all. You do have an option to kill these adds, but honestly, as I said before, with simple kiting, they're never going to reach you, so don't worry about wasting your mana on the adds. Just want to give a quick shout out to my guildie Affliction for helping me out on my kill, and let's move on to the final demon. Last but not least, we have arrived in Burning Steppes and we are looking to find Franklin the Friendly. Pro tip, he's not friendly. He pats in the western end around the mountain. This is where the demon slaying enchant comes in handy. With the enchant, you have a chance to stun the demon on a melee attack and do a burst of damage. This is for sure not required for the kill, but makes the fight a lot easier and quicker to complete. We want to start the fight on the road, which can be risky as other players have the ability to grief you here, but it allows you to avoid any mobs in the area and makes it a smooth, clean fight. The key to this boss is using rank 1 wing clip and max rank scorpion sting. You can use raptor and mongoose bites here and there, but I would honestly advise focusing on strictly melee damage to conserve your mana. To begin the fight, lay down a frost trap and open with an aim shot multi-shot and begin kiting the boss backwards. Once the boss enrages, immediately use Scorpion Sting and begin meleeing the boss. Scorpion Sting is used to remove the enrage so that the boss only does 1 damage to you. When enraged, the boss will most likely one-shot you, doing over 3000 damage per auto. Ideally, you're looking to melee auto the demon 3 times and then use a rank 1 wing clip and begin kiting away from the boss. You are essentially waiting for the boss to enrage again, which then you can just repeat the previous discussed rotation. If the boss is getting too close, you can apply a concussive shot or even scatter shot to make sure you can gain distance from the boss. Remember that your Scorpion Sting can't be used in your dead zone, so you have to create enough distance to make sure you can get it off each time the boss enrages. My biggest tip on this boss is to not spend time kiting and trying to auto attack it down. Make sure to remove the enrage right away each time and proceed inwards to melee attack. If you choose to kite this boss, the enrage will just randomly go off when you least expect it and the boss is going to one-shot you. When the boss re-enrages is actually based off when he last enraged, not when you dispel the enrage. So the second he enrages, you now have 15 seconds to get your Scorpion Sting off, run in, melee him 3 times, hit your wing clip, and run out. This actually took me over 5 attempts of randomly getting one shot to realize that that 15-second window is based off of not when you dispel, but when the boss last enraged. So TLDR, don't spend time kiting the boss in auto and multi-shot, just focus on getting that Scorpion Sting off, hit your 3 melee attacks, wing clip, and get out, and you'll be able to kill this boss on your first attempt every single time. Well, hot damn, was that not a fantastic journey retrieving the heads of 4 demons around the world? Your last step would be getting a mature black dragon sinew off Onyxia if you've not already picked one up. Keep in mind, you can obtain the sinew at any point from Onyxia even if you've not begun this quest chain. So hopefully your raid team gets good RNG on drops and the sinew drops right away for you. In order to complete the quest chain and obtain the 2 weapons, you will need to get this, so this will most likely be your pain point throughout this process. The sinew is just a random drop off the Onyxia boss, nothing special is required to obtain, but good luck, and hopefully if you have to roll on it, you roll high. Once you have the 4 demon heads and your mature black sinew, make your way down to Felwood to get your epic weapons. Hand in the heads and the sinew, and then right click your stave to form Rhok'delar. Talk with Artorius the Ancient one more time and then request Rhok'delar. I want to be the first to congratulate you on your new epic weapons. Now we are left with one last quest, asking for a mature blue dragon sinew to obtain your epic quiver. To be honest, I wouldn't stress about getting this item, it only grants a 1% attack speed over your pre-bis Ribley's quiver and 2 extra slots. you have a few options to obtain this blue Sinew. You can go out and farm the item off Dragon King in Winterspring. This is a very low drop rate, 0.4%, and can be a very tedious and long grind. You can also purchase the item off the auction house for a hefty sum of gold, depending on the seller. Normally around 400 to 500 gold, I would say people are selling it for. A lot of times they post for around 1,000 gold when there's barely any, but you can normally talk to them and get the price down. You can also just wait until phase 2, where world boss is released and the boss Azargos drops the Sinew as well. Here, I'm just showing you guys the farm location. You can also go inside the cave. This is the same location where you finished your Nixia attunement. Funny enough, I came by just to get some footage of showing the location and some kills, and I found 2 of my guild members also farming inside. As I was leaving the cave, I ended up turning the recording off, but on the way out there was one last mob in my way. I killed it, and funny enough, the Sinew actually dropped. So sadly enough, I didn't have the recording of the kill, but I turned it back on to show the aftermath and the sadness of my few guild members still trying to obtain this item. Sorry guys, I know you'll get it soon. Well, that wraps up my guide on obtaining your epic hunter weapons. I hope you can learn from this and take something away when you have a chance to get your very own Rhok'delar and Lok'delar. If you enjoyed my content, please let me know with a thumbs up on the video and subscribe for the next episode of the Hunter Handbook. Next week, Dire Maul releases, and I'm going to be making a video guide on how to solo Dire Maul North tribute runs as a hunter, so stay tuned and keep your eyes peeled for that video. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments below or drop by my live stream, twitch.tv/Draaynaation. I'm always willing to answer your questions. Huge shout out to Zavaris in my guild for helping me along the journey of killing these demons, and he provided some fantastic tips and tricks and helped me along the way. So thanks again, buddy. Thanks for watching the video, and I'll see you all next time.